Welcome to Something to Talk About from the Bainbridge Island Senior Community Center. I'm Reed Price. I'm happy to welcome you. We're going to talk a little bit about the Bainbridge Island History Museum, which has a lot of new things going on, and we're going to be meeting with the principal folks there. But I want to first thank Fieldstone Communities of Bainbridge Island for sponsoring these Zoom calls. They are a group that offers memory care and assisted living and independent living up on Rolling Bay, around the corner kind of from Bay Hay and Feed. They have a lovely campus, and you can find out about it. You can even go visit and have lunch on them by giving them a call and telling them you're coming. 206-594-1010. Ask for Celia or Jamie, or you can just check out their website at fieldstonecommunities.com. And we'd like to begin by acknowledging that we are meeting on the ancestral homelands of the Puget Sound Coast Salish people. Specifically, Bainbridge Island is in the territory of the ancestral territory of the Suquamish people, the people of the clear salt water. We honor them, and we are learning from their stewardship of these lands and waters. So we have with us today Amber Buell, who is the executive director, and then Lindsay Ogles, is that how you say your name? Who we met with yesterday and handles a lot of the programs and curations. And then we also have Jessica Perkins, who is newly added to the group there to help out with development. So thank you very much for joining us today, and welcome. So if you'll unmute yourself, we'll start by just maybe having Amber talk a little bit about all the changes that have been going on in the last couple of years. And as we fully start to live in a world where COVID is more of a normal thing, a lot more activities in person happening with the History Museum.
Yes, everything has changed at the museum since we have reopened from COVID. We have an entirely new staff. You will notice they're all new faces. I believe, am I the oldest one? Oh, I have been here for 2 years, and I am the senior staff member. So we're still going through growing pains, still changing, but we're excited to be back and be in person, and hopefully serving our community in a bigger and better way, which of course there's really only up to go from no programming to some programming. So we really just want to let the community know that we've started it again, and we invite everyone to come and join in, and we hope to continue to expand so that we can get to those pre-pandemic numbers and reach. But everything's changed. Yeah.
Well, and the other thing, of course, that hasn't changed is that this is a wonderful repository for history of our island. And I was talking earlier this week with Lindsay about the idea of making some of that rich resource more easily available to our community. Maybe, Lindsay, you could talk a little bit about that.
Certainly. We're very grateful and happy to have a new website. So it's a lot easier to kind of navigate through, and what we've been able to add has been wonderful. So not only can you find new information about programs and events and things that we have going on, both here at the museum and around the community, but for the first time ever, you can also find portions of our collection that have been recently digitized and made available through our online collections portal. So each month, myself and our collections coordinator, Madeline, we go through and we are continuing to digitize images, documents, and we're adding them roughly 200 per month, as much as possible, to the online source. So you can check back every month, see new materials that have been added, and get to know a little bit more of the history that maybe doesn't all quite fit in the schoolhouse at present.
Jessica, as you're getting on board, what kinds of things are you finding out about? I guess when you first made the transition to start to help out at the History Museum was when you just helped with getting the Argosy cruise, the cruise around the island, which is a revisit of the Virginia 5 trip. So
Yeah.
say a little bit about that, maybe.
We just finished our Set Sail into History last Sunday, which is, like you said, a cruise around the island where we talk about all the a lot of historical information that has happened on Bainbridge and around. It was very successful. It was a wonderful day. Coming up is our pickleball tournament, our 5th annual. That will be August 7th through 11th. It's a fundraiser for the History Museum. And you don't even have to play to enjoy. We have vendors, we have a beer garden, food trucks. So come on out and watch a little pickleball. Enjoy Battle Point Park. We hope to see you guys out there. And then we'll have our big gala October 19th. It is 1980s prom theme this year, and that's at the Rowing Center. So I'm in charge of overseeing events and fundraising development for the museum. I'm excited to be here.
Great, and I know that that you have some great ongoing exhibits. Maybe you can talk a little bit about that, Amber.
Love to. We have our community past to present, which talks a little bit about 13 of the many communities that make up life here on the island. And the goal behind that is to have communities whose stories haven't been shared as widely tell their story in their own words. And that will be an ever-growing, rotating primary exhibit. And that's held in our 1908 schoolhouse, which is our largest artifact outside of the heritage trees on our property. And well, actually on the city's property that we lease. I want to be correct in that. And then we have Posted, which talks all about the very interesting postal history here on Bainbridge Island, and that's in our Busey Gallery, Helen Busey Gallery. And that will rotate every year. So we have a new exhibit coming in, which Lindsay, I don't know if she's telling people about it or not, but I know she can tell you more about Posted because she's the brilliance behind putting all of that together. And it is incredibly interesting, and she has a way of adding to exhibits so they continue to grow as the months pass by so that you always have something new to learn about. So she keeps adding parts of the collection to the exhibit, and then there are new prompts every month so you can share your experience as well as being Bainbridge Islanders, which is really exciting as well, just to keep kind of giving you a reason to come back, we hope. Did I do well?
You did fantastically.
Good.
Said everything I would have said.
So why don't you tell us a little bit more about the Posted project? The exhibit.
Sure. So we've had several people that have come in and expressed kind of an interest in, why Rolling Bay has its own zip code. And so we delved into it, and what we were able to show people is that not only do we have the 2 post offices that we have today and our 2 zip codes for the island, but at one point we had 10, 12, even 13 post offices at various points in time here on Bainbridge Island. We joke with people, it's because we had pretty limited roads, and so a majority of the post came in off boat. But the big and most interesting thing to me as I was curating the exhibit was actually delving into why a postal system would be so important to a community like Bainbridge Island. We had people from all over the world coming to live here, and this was during the days of the mills, this was during the days of early farming and agriculture, and you really had people from all over the globe, including community groups that we had never really been aware of until now, that settled here, were speaking multiple languages, writing in sometimes multiple languages, writing home. And so the importance of a postal system, particularly around the turn of the century, really made it possible for people to live, settle, and put down roots here without completely losing their connections to home. We know that so many of the people that we are familiar with, family names here on the island, show up in these postal records. And as just sort of a nice plug, the postal system was also one of the first government groups that openly espoused female employees. And here on Bainbridge Island, most of our postmasters were actually women. So we're continuing to learn all about our highly literate community, our multilingual community, and sort of the rich cultural groups that came and made this place their home, as is shown through letters, postcards, and a little bit of everything in between.
Fascinating. Yeah, I think that's wonderful. And when you talk about the kinds of things that you might add over time, what kinds of things that I might see that show up later on in the exhibit, just to give me a sense of that refresh.
Perfect. Like Amber said, each month we have a new prompt because we do want people to be able to interact with our exhibits. So each month we have a new prompt, and we invite you to come and give your feedback or your thoughts on that prompt. This month we're talking about summer memories and memories on the water, because We're a beautiful island and it's been quite warm, so who doesn't want to spend some time on the water? We've also each month been adding a few pieces of postal history from the collection that perhaps people haven't seen before or haven't seen in quite some time. So that's everything from letters, excerpts out of postcards, some really interesting ones. My personal favorite is actually, it's technically a letter, but it's also a confession.
That's the one I was just laughing
It's
about.
my favorite one. It's my favorite, honestly, that I've put up so far. It's a woman writing to the sheriff after they had gotten him to come over onto the island from Kitsap. And she's admitting that she got angry at her husband and she dunked the entire barrel of his bees.
Oh, no.
So we have all kinds of things from neighbor disputes, someone angry that a cow got into someone else's garden, all the way to some really darling Valentine's cards that you would have given out in school. It's a little bit of everything, but mainly we just wanted to make sure that people could see something that continued to grow month after month. And that way you would want to be able to come back and see these new little sort of hidden gems that we're sharing with you.
Great. You mentioned schools. I wonder if anyone of you wants to talk a little bit about how you try to connect with the school district or with school age kids to put them in touch with some of the resources that you have there.
Sure. So we have
I swear she doesn't do everything.
we
One woman show over here.
we have dozens of local school groups that come in over the course of the school year, and we are sort of a fun destination, particularly for the second graders as they learn about local history here on the island. And so what they end up doing is they call us up, we make an appointment, we bring them on in, and we not only show them our 1908 schoolhouse. I'll tell you, it really is shocking for young children to imagine the entirety of their school in one room. And their teachers look ever more terrified every year that we bring it up. But we show them the schoolhouse, we show them whatever is in our Busey gallery. So again, this year it's posted. And then we bring them in for an activity both on our timeline as well as in our sort of research library / meeting room / efficient office / our multitude of things in one space. And this year we've been actually designing some postcards for them because we realized most young people today may not have actually sent a postcard. So the kids get to come in, they get to color in the postcards, write themselves a message, and then they get to take those home. So some of them write notes to their mothers and fathers, some of them write notes to aunts, uncles, family in other states, and then their parents can actually take them and show them how to mail a physical postcard.
That's great. They can learn that postcards aren't only for last minute political messaging, which is seems to be what they are anymore. So Amber, maybe you can talk a little bit about that biggest exhibit, the schoolhouse itself. It did not always live where it sits today on Erickson.
Correct. It has had several homes. We were just talking about this yesterday. We're its fifth stop, right? It started out, but it was at the high school for the music room too.
Island Center.
Island Center.
High school.
Strawberry
Hill.
Yep.
Here.
And then here, 4. I said 4, not 5. Yes. So it has traveled to 4 different locations, starting out in Islandwood and then moving to the high school and serving as a band room. And then after that point, it was gifted to the museum and it rested at Strawberry Hill until it moved here in 2004. So we're celebrating our 20th anniversary at this location off Winslow. But it has made its way on a flatbed truck through Bainbridge Island several times, and it's made it in one piece. It's a beautiful structure. The bell still works. People love to. Oh, yeah, she has a picture of it right there.
We do photos of it going down Madison.
Yeah, I remember that. That was quite a journey. It went very slowly.
Yes, we scared quite
I
a few
hope.
people.
My favorite is the roundabout picture where it's
Yes.
going through the roundabout. But yeah, it's still it's just like it was before. And underneath the drywall, we still have the chalkboard with that day's lesson that's encapsulated in there. The bell still works, and we get people in all the time not people who went to school there, unfortunately, but people who used the building in high school. And it's our largest artifact. So we do our very best to protect it and keep it safe and make it the focal point of everything that we do. And you'll see in our new website and in our updated logo, it is the focal point. So
Yes.
yeah, we really want to showcase that piece of Bainbridge Island history.
So the History Museum itself has been through a few transitions as well. I think it started out as a total labor of love and very, very dependent on amateurs and folks who just wanted to make sure that the story of Bainbridge was not lost. You're now, as I understand it, trying to not only continue to do that, but to do it in a way that meets some accreditation with other sort of standards and policies of other best practices at museums. And why is that sort of an important thing for us to think about as a goal for our museum? Any of you?
Well, Lindsay can correct me if I'm wrong on this, but we've taken the same path as many other historical societies or groups of community groups who were concerned about the telling of their story and preserving that story through time. So we did start out as concerned citizens coming together, and then we joined in with the Kitsap County Historical Society and then branched off on our own. And we continue to strive to professionalize the staff and our best practices, because that is what we owe our community, to continue to learn the best way to preserve these artifacts and protect these stories so that we can continue to share them throughout the generations. And accreditation is the ultimate goal. And one of the best ways that we can prepare for that is to operate the museum under all of the best practices that are set by national museum organizations. And that is part of what Lindsay keeps up on, and also our collections manager downstairs, Madeline. And they're assessing everything that comes into our collection and everything that exists in it, making sure that it's in the best possible shape and looking at the newest technology to get it to that place if it is not, and then finding a way to raise the funds to do so. And we examine items as they come in as well, assessing their condition and how we can best protect them for future generations. Lindsay, did I say that right? Or is there anything that we need to?
No, you did phenomenally.
So that's the goal, of course, is to continue to protect the stories so that we can tell them, so that they'll be here. And we continue to try to learn and grow as a staff and as a museum to do that in the best way possible.
Yeah, I'm sure that the original museum, if it's anything like the one that I know when my mother was working on the Langley Historical Museum on Whidbey Island, the first stories that are often preserved are those of the pioneers. And so making sure that the pioneers being the Westerners moving in. And so I think that one of the things I know you have been working on is to make sure that all the voices of Bainbridge Island's past are part of the story that we tell.
Absolutely. And helping our community understand that that does mean all of the voices. That means everyone, every individual that lives on this island who's contributed, all of their stories are important. And also understanding that history isn't 50 years ago or 100 years ago. It's everyone's story. And it's last week, because it's happening all the time. And we want to share those stories, and we want to protect them. And there are many ways to do that as well. I think a lot of people think that they have to hand us over their entire photo book and all of their legal documents, but really that's not the case at all. We just want our community to know that their voices are important, and we want them represented, and we want to be able to share those with our future.
Now, what are ways that you would suggest, as me as a Bainbridge Island resident for 30 years, I've visited a couple of the exhibits over time, but are there other ways that you might suggest? Certainly, maybe delving into the website, but that I could connect and get a better sense of how I might contribute to the History Museum.
I can think of so many. I'm gonna let Lindsay take this because really I'm like the oral histories but take it away.
We have so many great opportunities, like Amber mentioned. So if you want to actually come and spend time with us, we have a number of volunteer opportunities that will be opening up in the near future, including some that are already open now. You can always contact our team regarding that. Kirsten Cathcart is our museum experience coordinator, and she's working very diligently to bring in new volunteers. So if you'd like to come and spend time with us, it won't be in the tiny office, don't worry, but we could fit you in if you wanted to. But we also have opportunities for people to just take a look at their own stories at home. So most people will come to us, and I get it all the time. Madeline gets it all the time as well. People are convinced that their story didn't matter or doesn't matter, or that we couldn't be interested in their family's legacy here on the island for any number of reasons. And like Amber said, that's simply not true. We're very interested. So we also would welcome people, go through the materials in your home, start taking a look at things, get a better idea for what stories your family has, get in touch with family members, friends, neighbors, and find out about your community. And then help us to see if maybe your community group is still missing. Maybe your family's story isn't told as much, and then reach out to us because we want to make sure that those stories are preserved. We have new ways of doing that thanks to some wonderful grants. So the Bainbridge Community Foundation, we spoke to Reed about this yesterday, but the Community Foundation gave us a wonderful grant that allowed us to get a lot of sort of videotapes digitized. And those include, home movies, video of the strawberry fields in operation. We have so much that we can share of people that today people wouldn't think are important enough. They're just home movies. It's just my family at the beach. These small moments that now, decades later, we look at and think, oh my goodness, can you believe that landscape has changed so dramatically? So with bringing more of this material to the community, we want to invite everyone to look back at their own materials at home, see whether they're interested in contributing to the collection. If so, please reach out, and just to see the value in everyone's stories already. We also welcome people to come conduct research with us. We have a small research library. We have the ability to help you see what is in the collection, maybe related to your area or your family, your community group, any of those things. And then through another very generous grant, thanks to the Rotary Club, we are creating oral history kits. We hear all the time, I've got all these people that their stories need to be recorded. And as you can see, you've got almost the whole staff here. We've got 2 people beyond us. And so we oftentimes are at the museum and can't get away as easily as we'd like. So we are welcoming the community as well. Once we get those kits finalized and out into the world, please come check out a kit, come learn to record a family history, and help us contribute to that sort of legacy long term. From the comfort of your couch, even.
And then come visit us. We're going to be open late on first Friday for after hours. We'll have nibbles and libations, and we do every 3rd Wednesday at the library. We have
History Museum at the library.
yes. So this one that's coming up in August is about pickleball.
Yes. We're inviting community members. Bring your pickleball knowledge, stories, and questions. We have a wonderful panel that'll be joining us for that. And then in September, if you'd like to get to know any of the museum team, we've got our 3 newest members that are going to be joining us for a panel about meeting your museum. Come ask questions about what we do, our backgrounds, what we're interested in. And then in October, we're looking into some of the local cemeteries around the island and some of the stories that we can tell from those generations that maybe can't speak for themselves anymore.
That's fascinating. Yes, that's something that we've talked about of interest here at the Senior Community Center. So we'll make sure to let people know about those things coming up. Shall I just quickly show the website just so people can see
Perfect.
Sure.
what
Yeah.
it looks like? So this is, let's see if I can get this black bar out of the way. There we go. So this is your new logo. Very smart looking. And and the new website, which has upcoming events, information about the exhibits. You were talking about volunteering. Here's the link for that. And under plan a visit, kinds of things might I find there.
Yeah, so we're open Wednesday through Sunday from 10 to 4, and we are free. So we're open to anyone and come in and check us out. And right down the street from you, so it's an easy stroll.
Oh, yes. And it's right up the street from the ferry, and I'm sure you get lots of visitors who are coming to the island that you're one of the first stops they make.
Yes. We get about 18,000 visitors a year, and the majority are from off island. So we're trying to get our locals in the door as well.
So tell me a little bit, so if I join, what are the benefits of that?
It's to support the museum. There is a benefit level as well that is NARM. It's reciprocal with other museums around, and then you get discounted tickets for our set sail into history, and our gala event. And they're low annual membership prices because we want everyone to be included and to be part of our community.
Yeah, and obviously the other thing you'll do is get some information, heads up on stuff that's coming up.
Yeah.
So that's a great reason too. Anything else you would like to add, or any comments from the folks who are watching?
We would just love to have you come see us again. We welcome everyone to come back to the museum and learn a little bit more about their hometown, or even just stop by and say hi. We'd love to see everybody.
Thank you, Jessica, Lindsay, and Amber, for your time.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you for having us, Reed. It was fun.
Great. Have a good weekend.
You too.